And Shostakovich, he actually wrote this when he was in his 20s. You can really hear that, youthful energy and, even flashes of humor. Sometimes it feels like he's almost winking at the camera. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Prelude to Mahler's Titan Symphony, presented by Wilson's. This is my incredible stand partner, Principal Viola extraordinaire, Diet Coke enthusiast, CBC 30 under 30 recipient, pretty good, Carolyn Farnand.
Welcome. I'm here with Ellis Yuen-Rapati, Assistant Principal Violist of the Symphony and Coke Zero lover.
Oh yeah, very good.
Ellis and I have actually known each other for a while. We did NYO Canada together, and we also studied together at the Glenn Gould School, where we actually played Mahler's first symphony. So it's fun to be playing it here professionally.
That's right, and it's a full circle moment for us,
Yes.
which is really cool to be going through, students, going to NYO, and now colleagues, right? It's a really special moment, and I'm so happy to be sharing the stage with you.
Likewise. Tell me a little bit about the first piece.
To start off the program, we will be playing Ashla by Navajo composer Raven Chacon. His music often focuses on space, texture, and atmosphere, a lot of things that modern music really encapsulate. Ashla is actually the 14th composition in a series of musical studies by Chacon, and it represents number 5, actually, in the Navajo numbering system. So he's made 14 of these musical compositions down this series. It's pretty cool to be jumping in to something that is kind of right in the middle of what he was doing. Carolyn, as a new music enjoyer, what do you think really attracts you to modern composition? Because there's so many different aspects to it.
Okay, I'm going to make a comparison to the Halifax Public Library, which I adore. And at the library, they have something called rapid reads, which is when someone returns a book early, they put it on the shelf and you can sign it up for 1 week. And if you just want something to read, but you don't want to think about picking a book, then this is a really great way to just find a book. And I often find that when I take out a book that way, that I know nothing about the book, I don't know about the author, I don't know about the storyline, and you go in with an open mind and you're rewarded with just a completely different story than sometimes you were looking for. And I like to relate this to new music because often when you go to concerts, there's a new composition and sometimes it's being heard for the very first time. So it's really neat to get to be there and experience this. Sometimes with premieres, this has already been played, but it's the first time it'll be played in Halifax. So it's really neat to experience something different. And on this program with Mahler's First Symphony, which we all know, we all love, it's so interesting to have a piece that's not as familiar to everyone on stage and in the audience.
Next up, we will hear the Piano Concerto No. 1 by Shostakovich. This features pianist Illia Ovcharenko, but it's not all as it seems.
This concerto has a fun twist. The piano isn't the only soloist. Actually, it's solo piano and there's solo trumpet. Symphony Nova Scotia's very own Curtis will be stepping up to play the trumpet solo, and there's a lot of playful back and forth between trumpet and piano.
That's right. And this is a very strange piece in a lot of ways, even in the way it was composed and written. So originally, it was written for trumpet to have the bigger role. But it turns out that the trumpet player just couldn't really cut it at the time.
Trumpet's hard.
Trumpet's hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
And the more prominent role kind of went to the piano. Yeah, even in the orchestration, sometimes it's just really sparse and it's interesting, right? All these things are layered on top of each other. It creates a really interesting piece.
And Shostakovich studied piano at the conservatory and he played in the Chopin competition and it didn't go very well, and I think that's what urged him to eventually switch over to primarily composition. At the end of the concerto, there's a big piano cadenza because the pianist who performed it insisted that a piano concerto needs to have a cadenza. So Shostakovich put it in and it will be wonderful. I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Nice. So after intermission, we'll hear Symphony No. 1, often referred to as the Titan Symphony by Gustav Mahler. And Carolyn, do you have any idea why it's referred to as Titan? It's kind of a weird name, huh?
It is fun that that nickname is used so commonly now because actually Mahler used that nickname for the first and second performances and then never used it again. But it is well used these days.
Right on.
And actually, this is the piece that Mahler conducted the most of in his lifetime, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. Mahler uses a lot of folk music in his writing. And I think that's something that really, appeals to everyone, because it's simple themes, something that comes from deep roots in community and traditions, right? I really think that holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, right? You can even think of a theme like, you were talking about nursery rhymes the other week, and there's a nursery rhyme for Jacques. You know that one?
Yes.
That's a great one.
Why don't you sing it?
I should sing it.
Yeah, sing a little bit of it.
Da 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 da. Right? It's very nice. Everyone loves that one. It's a classic. And you would think, if Mahler was taking this theme, maybe put that in the first movement. It's kind of nice. It's kind of happy. It's kind of serene. It's chill, right? But actually, it appears in the third movement as a kind of weird, twisted minor version.
I love that he turns it minor.
It's crazy.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. It's replaced with da na 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 da na 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 na. There's something just so sad.
It's haunting.
Right? Haunting.
And it's a double bass solo too,
That's
which
right.
is so cool.
Yeah. Someone just trudging. It's not fun, hopeless even. And that is pretty crazy that it came from something filled with so much good energy and whimsy, right? I think that's pretty crazy.
The third movement seems to be your favorite movement.
Oh.
But my favorite movement is the last movement because it's the storm and there's so many notes to play. It's really exciting, and it's just this like flurry of sound and notes and scales and arpeggios. And the fourth movement is also really fun because there's a really big viola moment. And when you hear it in the concert, you'll know. And it's going to be phenomenal. I love playing that movement.
No doubt. For the show, we're actually working again with Shizuo Kuwahara, and he is bringing this really, really exciting new arrangement of Mahler's Symphony, right? Usually you'll think of Mahler as needing, a lot of musicians.
Lots of brass,
huge expansive piece, right? And so we're doing this really interesting, more chamber orchestral version, right? I think that's pretty cool. We don't really get many opportunities to play that, right? So it's something that I'm really looking forward to, and it's so exciting to think about how it's going to hear and how all the different parts will be fitting together.
Yes, it's going to be chamber music on a symphonic scale. And it's really neat that he's done the arrangement himself, since we worked with him a couple months ago and he got to know a few of the musicians. The voices will be different. He's taken out some of the doubled woodwinds and they'll be playing different melodies and in the string parts too. So I'm super excited for that.
Nice.
Thank you so much for joining us for this prelude to Mahler's Titan Symphony. We'd like to thank Nice Moves Red Door Realty and Dr. Piano for sponsoring this concert.
And a huge thank you to Wilson's for presenting this prelude. Thanks so much, and see you all soon.